full devotion, I forgot my fears to comfort yours. I guess recovery means you don't need me.
Welcome everyone to another Riku the Martyr anime review. I am Riku the Dark, and after about a month or two hiatus, we're doing another one of these. Now let me apologize first most, because if you hear noise in the background, that's my air conditioner. It's hot as hell right now, so I have to. And today's anime review, if you can't guess from the title I probably put on this video, it's going to be Sekirei Season 1. I will address things later, but for right now, I'm going to get the bandana on, and we're going to get this anime review rolling. Sekirei. I don't think I need to completely explain the premise by the synopsis I find, but because I don't know what the synopsis I find is saying, I will say this though. Basically, in short, it summarizes the story of this complete loser who ends up somehow tied into this thing called the Sekirei plan. The Sekirei plan, basically, this guy named Minaka, yes, I had to write stuff down because I did this over vacation, but this guy named Minaka decided to release 108 of these super-powered humans, who, for whatever reason, are 90% female, it seems, into the world and had them all fight it out. Never truly explained why, but he did. And, yeah, that's it in short, basically. Loser ends up It's funny because once I get to the characters, it's truly surprising. Well, I'll get to the characters now because really the synopsis will cover up the basis. Okay, the first character is the main character himself, Minato. Minato is a complete loser. I believe he's in high school trying to get into college, but he's failed the entrance exam like twice, they said, and he really is truly kind of pathetic. Have you ever heard, if you ever believe that the best things happen to the most loserest of people, is literally true, because it quite literally, the whole plot of this anime pretty much fell out of the sky. And, yeah, he has his points. He's somehow, despite the fact that he's, in realistic terms, a complete loser, he actually is a pretty relatable character. He does most of the things probably most people would react to. Like, he reacts mostly how most people react. That's Minato in short, without spoilers. It's kind of hard to explain some character traits without spoilers, because the character development happened mostly late in the anime, except with Minato. And speaking of, now let's go to the plot that fell out of the sky, Musubi. The first well, not really the first Sekirei you meet in the anime, but like the first real Sekirei you get to know, Musubi. She quite literally met Minato by falling out of the sky and landing on him. And pretty much out of nowhere decided to make him his Ashikabi. Now let me explain something right now. Ashikabi are basically a Sekirei's partner who through mucosal contact, or for those of you who had never taken a science class in your entire life, kiss them, and then they become awakened, or basically they unlock their true power. It's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it basically, but it's kind of like it basically allows them to do like their ultimate abilities, and unlocks their true power. Musubi, a fighter Sekirei, and basically a complete dolt, or idiot. Yeah, she's a ditzy bitch. Yet, a lot of people probably could say they could hate her. I can see how people would hate her, but most people probably would just find it kind of cute, I guess you could say. I should probably explain one thing before we continue here. Okay, so Sekirei. They're basically, like I said, there's 108 of them supposedly released out there, all released to fight each other. They all have a specific, like, ability or fighting style appropriate to them. Like Musubi, Musubi basically, she fights with a fist. She's a good fighter or martial artist. Some are skilled with weapons, others actually have legit like magic powers. Ashikabi, like I said, they're partners. Fight with they don't really fight with them. They're kind of like it's kind of like it's kind of like Psychic no Quasar actually. For those of you who watch that, basically they would basically supply them with power, whilst for the Sekirei themselves actually fight. However, the Maria slash Ashikabi could fight if they truly wanted to, though they'd probably suck at it. In fact, Minato did suck at it. But that's a whole nother bucket of fish. Okay, so Musubi and basically falls out of the sky, lands on Minato, and decides to make him her Ashikabi. Yeah, best way to start an anime. It's truly laughable, actually. It's like some of this plot. Like I almost want to compare the structure of this anime to Camphor, because it'll basically it'll open up with all the hilarity and everything. Usually, like it'll open up with whatever they want to do to throw out there, try to make you laugh. Get to the plot, and then get to any fights they want to do or whatever. It's actually quite. It's quite an interesting structure, actually, I have to admit. There are very few animes that go like that. It's pretty interesting. To move on here, I'm gonna try and structure this in order of appearance. Let that be said. Who came up next? Where are they? Hikari, I can never pronounce it. Hikari and Hibike. Basically, you'll know them by my nickname for them, the Lightning Twins. A duo of Sekirei who, by the way, when we get to a point, I'm gonna address that. But they're two Sekirei who they're pretty much twins, and they basically shoot lightning out of their fingertips. Yeah, that's basically how you summarize them in short. But to get to their personality, they're basically, well, I'll address. Yeah, they're basically the caretakers for the Arashikabi. Really, they are. And did I even write that? No, I didn't. I may as well get to that now, lest I forget. The Arashikabi is this guy named Seo, he's basically a freelance worker who apparently has connections to everybody in this anime. That's not a Sekirei, other than his own, of course, but, he's the Arashikabi of Hibiki and Hikari. Hikari and Hibiki, who pretty much have to babysit him every 2 seconds. But, yeah. And he also apparently has connections to another character who we'll get to in a minute. His personality is basically the calm guy who basically is trying to mooch off of everybody he can find. In fact, that's how he acts throughout the anime. Anyway, back to order of appearance. May as well get to her now. Yukari, who is actually Minato's sister, she in season 1 did not play a gigantic role. They kind of set up this side plot point where she meets this other Sekirei who I can't remember his name for the life of me. But yeah, they try to structure this side story with her, but it never really comes into play. Also, she apparently has a thing for pretty boys. Don't know why. But, yeah, that's basically all you can say about her. She didn't really play a gigantic role in season 1. Maybe they'll bring it up in season 2. Anyway, got Musubi. Okay. To get back to order of appearance, well, actually, Yukari appeared pretty early on, but, there's also, get to order of appearance. In the anime, I'm kind of structuring characters and plot at the same time, in case you haven't noticed, but in the anime, when Musubi shows up, the landlord of Minato's apartment decides to kick him out because it's a singles apartment, which probably I don't even know if they have, but he thought that Musubi was his girlfriend, kicked him the hell out, and then he had to go out and find a different place to live, in which he found a new person to live under named Mia, who is basically the landlady. And somehow she intimidates everybody. I don't quite know how she intimidates everybody, but she intimidates everybody somehow. And she's also a really skilled swordswoman. Yep. And then we meet two other characters, Uzume, who basically, I can't say much about her without revealing a few other plot points, but she's another Sekirei. You don't quite figure out what her powers are, and she's basically comes off as the lazy, kind of like the lazy roommate kind of character who never really does much. We also meet Kagiri, right? Kagiri, who is... Okay, somebody might end up bitching at me and saying this is a spoiler. If you're not a complete dumbass, you'll figure this out immediately, but Kagiri is this Sekirei of Fire, who apparently is a guy, even though the voice actor they hired to do him in the English version, at least, I've been watching the English version, is a... If it's not a female, the guy has a really feminine voice. I will say that, but anyway, his actual job is actually apparently at a host club, which I'm pretty sure is basically a maid cafe, except it's run by guys, but he works at a host club, but otherwise he's a fire Sekirei who decides to dress up like Kakashi. He really looks like Kakashi or Joshua from The World Ends With You grown up, or a fusion of the both. And goes around at night. I think he enforces the Sekirei plan, which is the 108 release, they all fight each other kind of ordeal. And basically that's all he really comes off as. He's no wait, that's a spoiler. But yeah, something like that. He works with MBI. I think MBI is the group or organization that released Sekirei. And I think that's all you know without revealing any plot points that really come into play. I like his character, but he's not really built properly. Maybe it's only because it's season 1, but he's not really built entirely properly, and you never figure out which Ashikabi he has either. But, yeah. And to jump back for a minute with, in characters, Mia, apparently, when I was talking about how Seo had connections to people, apparently Mia has connections to everything too. Like, they slowly build up her character as they go, and it works, but if you're gonna do that, you can't do that with more than one character. They do that with, give or take, 3 characters, I think. Yeah, 3 or 4. And it's okay if you do it with, like, 1 or 2, but you can't do it with, like, half your cast. At least that's how I feel. I'm checking to see if there's any non-Sekirei I can... Oh, yeah. To talk about MBI for a minute, MBI is this organization who's apparently running the city that they're in. I don't even think it ever says which city they're in. But, it basically they're an organization that has all the money. They're like fucking, what can I compare it to? They're like that weapons company in Witchblade that I can't remember the fucking name of, but they're the huge company that runs, like, everything, apparently. And the head of, MBI, known as Minaka, and I can't remember his first name because I didn't write it down, he's basically the head of MBI, and I swear he could be Dr. Stein's cousin from Soul Eater. He friggin' is a nutcase, and he pretty much... I think he had a reasoning behind the Sekirei plan, because I'm assuming that in Season 2 they're going to reveal he had some kind of reasoning behind it. But in Season 1, he basically comes off as the guy who released 108 Sekirei, had them all fight each other just for the hell of it. And apparently he runs Japan's military, too. I don't know how that works, because I honestly think that Japan's military should have interrupted half of this, but I'd go by anime logic there and throw that out the window, but in reality, though, he is a complete nutcase. And I like him. I don't know why, but, he's basically he's pegged as the bad guy, but I can't truly see him as a bad guy. It's weird. Like, he's a character who for all you know in an anime, he could be the bad guy, but it could turn around and he'd all of a sudden be the good guy again. I don't know why, but it seems that way the way they built him. And that's all I can really say about him, because he's not really given a character structure other than the stereotypical guy who pulls all the strings. I think that's all the non-Sekirei I can get to. Oh, well, I'll get to that later. Okay. From here on, I'm gonna basically not. I'm gonna leave a few plot holes unfilled because that's kind of spoilers. Okay, to move on to the Sekirei, we have Ku, who I believe his full name is, or her full name is Kurimu, I want to say, but I can't remember. Basically, she's only known as Ku, and her power is basically she's this, like, she can grow plants out of anything, or grow plants to these gargantuan proportions and basically control them. She's like a young poison ivy, actually. She's only about, I'd have to say, like, her body structure is only like 8 years old. Or she's young, basically. Possibly, she's definitely younger than, the fuck was her name? The young witch from, Yukari. She's younger than Yukari from Rosario Vampire, I definitely have to say. Her character, she doesn't talk much. She basically goes through the she basically, speaks with her body language, kind of, like anime language. That's all I can call it. Like, she doesn't talk much, but, she does at when she starts coming into play, she basically comes off as the character who, basically all she wants is kind of a, she's the character who would basically call the person that she wants to marry Oni-chan, like, brother, or something like that. Yeah. She has her many flaws, but if I would compare her to anybody, I compare her to Tomo of Seiken no Quasar, despite their huge differences. But she's that character who you forever question, but you just can't hate her. You don't know why, but you can't just completely hate her. It's weird. That's all I can say about Ku. To move on to, okay, Matsu. Matsu, or as I call her, just random appearance woman, she at first randomly appears to be like, she's basically the tech specialist. She's like, that one girl from the Youngblood from, Burst Angel, whose name I can't remember at the moment. But, she basically is the tech specialist. She hides behind computers the whole time, and she freaking investigates everything. Like, she knows everything through these computers. By far, she's tech specialist. Oh, by the way, she also has a badass motorcycle. But she's also slightly perverted for whatever reason. Don't know why. That's Matsu in a nutshell. Tsukumi, aka Shotgun's favorite Sekirei on the forums, or Shai Tuhade, whatever he's called now. She is the water Sekirei who's, she's a single-digit number, which is apparently like the original powerful Sekirei or something like that. I don't want to say that I don't want to say that for sure, but all the Sekireis have numbers. Musubi's number 88, Tsukumi number 9, you never get to see number 1, but whatever. Well, at least I don't think you get to see number 1. I don't remember it, but, yeah, she's number 9, water Sekirei, and for whatever reason, she's stuck speaking in ye old Shakespearean English. I don't know why. But she comes up, she doesn't like, Ashikabi, aka the partners, in case you forgot already. She doesn't like them. It's never fully explained why, but she just doesn't. I think she's something along the lines of she doesn't like the idea of being defiled by becoming awakened, or actually pairing up with the Ashikabi. And I honestly find that kind of strange, because there's always, yeah, all the Sekirei are basically seeking their Ashikabi, but she doesn't. I don't think it's explained why, but, what are you gonna do? She's the determined one, always trying to be, like, the best around. That's basically her goal. And that's all I can really think of at the moment. I'll get back to it if I need to. Kazehana, who you meet early on, but you do not learn much about her. I remember from Shotgun, he watched this before me, by the way. She's supposed to become a main character, but I think they're going to do that in Season 2, not in Season 1. She basically comes off as an alcoholic. That's basically all you can say about her. Alcoholic who apparently loves romance novels and operas. soap operas. And she also, I don't know if she's the Sekirei of flowers or Sekirei of wind, or some combination of the two. I'm pretty sure it should be the Sekirei of wind, because I think flowers would fall under Ku's power. But, what you gonna do? You can't really say much about her. Yeah. Kazehana, Karu. Oh, there's, one character you meet a bit late in the anime, Karusawa, who's known as the Black Sekirei, and she's the current leader of this discipline squad, which is basically a group of Sekirei that work for MBI to be sure the Sekirei plan goes, well, as planned. And, yeah, that's basically all you can say about, all I can say about her without revealing plot points. Other than that, she's supposed to be a pretty powerful swordswoman. Okay. Got fire, got the lightning twins, land lady, Minaka, Uzume, Hayate. Oh, this is one guy who you meet freaking in like the third or fourth episode, named Hayato. I'm about to say Hayate. Hayato, who you don't figure out his name early on. I just say it because really the name of characters don't really matter. But he's supposed to have like a ton of Sekirei under him. Yeah, Ashikabi can have more than one Sekirei. I don't know. It's weird because only two, maybe three characters that you, well, if you count Seo, I count the Lightning Twins as one Sekirei, and I'll get to that in a minute, but, there are two, maybe three characters that have multiple Sekirei. I honestly think, you'd think that there'd be more if they could, but, what you gonna do? But he supposedly has many a Sekirei, and for whatever, he comes off as a bad guy, but it's never truly explained his ordeal. I don't know why, but it never is. And finally, somebody you meet really late in the anime, Kuno, I can't remember her name that well, because it's never said that often. She's basically a screamer. All she can really do is scream. She fights with her voice, and she's weak. She's pathetic. She can't really fight that much. Probably because I nicknamed her Krona, because she has many traits of Krona. Doesn't want to fight that much, etc. And you also meet her Ashikabi, Hanaka. I think I got that wrong. I don't know. But, he's basically a mirror image of Minato. Like, he's quite... When they describe his backstory, he is pretty much Minato, except not pathetic. He's Minato, but not pathetic. That's all I can say. Now, to get to a few things. Like I said, there are two, maybe three characters that have more than one Sekirei. You'd honestly think there'd be more. Now, the Sekirei plan, in summary, the last Sekirei standing out of the 108 gets to stay with their Ashikabi forever. I think Minako, at the credit sequence of the first episode, something along the lines of it's an epic love story. Which I can see that. The whole Ashikabi-Sekirei relationship is built to be basically a romantic relationship. And more often than not it is, except in the case of Seo and his two Sekirei. However, I don't know if it comes into play in Season 2, but you'd think that if it's built like that, if one Ashikabi had multiple Sekireis, wouldn't that lead to his or her Sekirei into where his Sekirei battle until there's one more standing under his relationship? Or maybe it's built to where the Ashikabi, like, all his Sekirei win because they're all his. Like, the Ashikabi are, it's like in Pokemon how the trainer, even if he loses in Pokemon where the trainer in a tournament, he is technically like the whole thing, like he's the king whilst for his Pokemon are doing all the fighting. Maybe it's something like that. I don't know. But I find it kind of strange. And I don't quite understand the case of Hibiki and Hikari to where they're two different Sekirei. Like, you can see they're two different people. But they're like lightning twins. They're like the same person. So are they considered one number or are they two? I don't know. But Season 1 leads you to many questions. Season 1, for like an opening season, I have to give it a solid 6. Or maybe, if you're not into ecchi, maybe a 4. Because, let's face it, it's an ecchi. There's tits, panties everywhere. You can't escape it in an ecchi. You just can't. It's an ecchi. It's like Queen's Blade by Ikituzen and Psyche no Quasar's rulings. Really, it kind of is. But, yeah, I'd give it a solid 6. If you're not an ecchi lover, don't even bother watching it. Just get out of here. I'd give it a solid 6 for an opening. Like, if you can maintain an ecchi, I'd recommend it to a lot of people. You'll find a character you like, and hopefully a few Sekireis you like. I kind of separate the duo. I don't know why, but yeah, it's solid. There are many plot holes that I don't know if Season 2 will fill. And if that happens, I'll talk about it there. Now, I have not watched Season 2, and there's a reason behind this. Rosario, if you remember my Rosario Vampire review, I lumped Season 1 and Season 2 together. That's because it's semi-episodic. You can just jump in wherever you want. Whilst for this one, it has a solid plot basis, so you can't really jump in the middle there and watch it wherever you want. So, in my next interview, I'll be doing Sekirei Season 2. I'm going to watch that and do Season 2. I've done this from only watching Season 1. Hopefully it doesn't have the common anime syndrome to where Season 2 sucks compared to Season 1. However, I'm willing to prepare myself for it is. So there. Sekirei Season 1 received a solid 6. And when the time comes, we'll do Season 2. Until then, I really have nothing else to say, I don't think. If there's anything I missed, I'll address it later. But for now, I'm Riku vs. Dark. I am out. Enjoy maybe this AMV I found. I don't know if I'm actually going to do that or not, because it's the same anime, but you never know. Maybe I will. If so, if not, bye.